A very good evening to all the students. Let me tell you first what we will be doing in this particular session. So it is your company law orientation session. In this session, I'm going to cover two parts. One is your study plan, so that you have a proper dedicated study plan. This study plan I will also share in the WhatsApp groups. You can join the WhatsApp groups given in the description of the video. And the second part, I will be covering the initial part, the company law basics, and then I will tell you the entire plan of how we will go ahead and complete this entire syllabus together. So let's begin. Okay. Now, first, I will be starting with a study plan. Okay. Now, understand one thing, that you need to start with a plan. If you start without a plan, you're going to get confused. You're going to not know what is to be done. So right now I will be sharing a plan for all the students who are planning to give their exam in the upcoming attempt. Okay. Now, and obviously this plan is, since I'm taking it now, this is for all the students who are giving their exam in December 2025. Okay. Now this is your timetable. It has already come out. Your paper is going to start from the 22nd, and we have all the subjects lined up, and your paper is going to start from the 2 p.m. Now, the very first thing, the problem that you all will have, instead of just picking up lessons and starting to complete, let me tell you how you should start. Okay. First is, you have to make up your mind whether you're giving one group or both groups. I have a plan assigned or designed for all of y'all. So the very first thing is, no matter whether you're giving one group, group 1, or you're giving group 2, or you're giving both groups, this should be your strategy throughout till your examination. Now obviously if you're listening to me, then you will listen to me only. Okay. And trust me, because only when you have certainty that this is how I have to go ahead, then only you will be able to channelize and get energy to study. First, in every single day, you have to study two papers. One will be a theory subject and one will be a practical paper. In both your groups, there is one theory, there will be at least one practical paper. So when you get up in the morning, the early half, the first half will be done one theory paper. Okay. And in the night, when you're tired after college, after classes, after studying your theory, you will pick up a practical paper, because in practical paper you need to solve sums, and for that, even if you're tired, you can still continue to do it. Okay. So all of y'all, first step will be that you will study one subject, one theory paper in the morning, and in the evening you will do a practical paper. Okay. Now let me give you for the study plan. Now this will be, whether you're giving group 1 or group 2, this will be your study plan. Okay. Now let me tell you what is the study plan. First thing, in the first half, if you're giving group 1, you have total 4 papers: GIGL, you have company law, you have CAFM, and you have SBILL. Okay. So if now this I'm talking to students who are giving group 1 in the upcoming attempt. How to start, which subjects to start, which subject to match with which subject, in how many months I should cover. I'm going to cover it in a short time. And this will be your strategy till examination. First is, you have 4 papers: GIGL, company law, and CAFM, which is your practical, and your SBILL. Now if you're giving group 1, in the day you will either pick up GIGL or company law. I would suggest that you start with company law. In the morning you will start, and I'm also starting with company law. So you will start with company law. the first month, I'm telling you in the 1 month. Okay, the first month, for example, from here, wherever you're watching this video, till the next 1 month, you will take up, if you're giving group 1, you will take up company law, study in the first half, and in the second half, that is in the evening, you will take up the practical paper in group 1 and you will start with CAFM. Right? So 1 in the day, 1 in the night. This will be for the first month. In the first month, you should target completing both company law and CAFM. In 1 month, you have to finish 2 subjects. Right? So both, I am starting with company law and Fatima ma'am is starting with CAFM. So all the students giving group 1 in the upcoming attempt will plan that in 1 month I have to finish 2 subjects, company law and CAFM. When you complete that, and ideally you should complete it in 25 days, 2 subjects. I'll tell you also how. In the next month, you will do the balance 2 subjects. That is your GIGL and SBI LL. So it's 1 in the day, 1 in the night. So in 2 months, ideally you can complete your full syllabus of group 1. Now if you're giving group 2, now I'm talking to all the students who are planning to give their group 2 in December or in the upcoming attempt, June, whatever. Here you will pick up one practice. Now you have only 3 papers who are giving group 2, so they have a lesser burden. You will take up one theory subject, that is either you can take CMSL. I would say you can start with CMSL only, and in the night you will do CMSL. In the night you will do your tax. The next month you will do ECIPL, that is commercial laws, and in the night you will do your taxation. Clear? So in 2 months again you can complete your group 2 as well. So any students are giving both the groups, obviously you're giving 2 months here and 2 months there, 4 months you will complete, and then you will do your revision. Okay, so for both the groups who are giving, obviously they'll finish 1 month group 1, 2 papers. Next month you'll do the other 2 papers. In the next month you'll do your group 2 papers, and then 1 more month for revision. So this is how you are planned. So you will start company law and tax. Okay, company law and CAFM for group 1 students, and group 2 students, they can start CMSL and tax in the night. Till this it is clear. No other confusion. Sir, can we complete? Now biggest question is, can we complete 2 papers? Can we complete 2 papers in 1 month? Answer is absolutely yes. I will show you how. Okay. Now obviously you should try to study for maximum number of hours. Either you get up at morning 5, 6, 7. Initially it will take time. Okay. In the first half, 6 hours or 4 hours or 3 hours, whatever you do, even 3 hours if you study, initially it is fine. You have to complete one chapter. So every day you have to target to complete 1 chapter. Now remember, not some chapters are big, it will take time, but some towards the end many chapters are also small. Okay, so you should target to complete 2 chapters, 1 of each paper. Clear till here? So in the day, first half you will try to finish 1 chapter. Maybe you take 6 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours, watch the video and complete. In the evening again you have to complete one chapter. Now sir, how you are saying that we can complete? Now very important, not many students know this, and before their study plan they think it's too big, whereas it is not. Let me tell you how. Your group 1 has 4 papers, and in 4 papers also you see, in each paper you have GIGL 18 chapters, SBILL 20 chapters, company law 19 chapters, and tax 20 chapters. So easily, if you go to see one chapter, one subject has on an average 20 chapters. So if every day I am completing 1 chapter, or in the day, and of the other subject in the night, I can easily complete. I will complete it in 20 days, 25 days, and then balance days I will do for revision of those 2 subjects. So in the first month, you should study only two subjects, company law and whichever you want, but I'll say company law and tax I'm starting. Then in the next month, I'll do the other parts which is there. Clear till here, everyone? So if you're planning with me, if you're doing with me, company law I'm starting and GST, company law and CAFM. CAFM is there in your group 1. In group 2, you have tax. So just, but if you overall you go to see, in group 2, you have ECIPL, SMCL, CMSL, both 20 chapters are there, and here you have tax. Just that correction needs to be done. But overall 20 chapters, easily if you target it, it can be completed. Clear till here, everyone? Now, again, one more important tip I will be giving you. So for all of you all, the baseline I want you all to write in your books is that 1 month I have to complete 2 subjects, company law and CAFM, okay, and whatever, like 1 month you pick your subjects and complete 2 subjects. Now remember one more thing, that not all chapters are not of equal importance. Okay, there are some chapters which are more important and some chapters which are less important. Okay, so the important chapters list also I will give you. So before studying, you will look that, listen, these chapters are important. However, it is not mandatory that ICSI will ask in those proportions only or those chapters, but average wise it will always remain the same. Like Constitution of India is always important, Competition Act is always important. So some chapters we already know that institute asks more marks, and some chapters we already know that institute doesn't ask much marks. They might ask max 5 marks. So some chapters are of high importance which you should know, which you should study really well. And out of that 20 chapters, you will see that there are only 7 to 8 chapters which have very high weightage. Now, which are those weightage? What is that? I will take a separate session, maybe in the next session, or I will cover each subject which is the important chapters list. Okay, and obviously it is through experience. I know ICSI sometimes they try to act smart by varying the chapters. Some they ask from a non-important chapter, but managing that also I will tell you the entire important sessions list. So this I think I will take it in the next session, which are the important key chapters. It is very important before starting to know all this, that what is the paper pattern, what is the number of chapters I have per subject, which subjects I should start, how I should start, all of that. Okay, next. Okay, and in the end you have to make it a point to write test paper. This is towards the end of the exam, 2 months before, when you finished your syllabus, done with the revision, then it is better to write test papers. That also I will take when the time comes. Okay, and obviously you can join a WhatsApp group, because there I'll be taking revision lessons and all this. Till here, is it clear? Yes or no, everyone? Till here, is everything clear with you all, with the strategy? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, so very important, very simple. Today I'm just going to take a touch. I will just be guiding you all through the entire session. Tomorrow I will be starting with the entire depth. But just before I start the subject that we are doing, okay, we are going to start with clear, sir. Very good. Aisha, Akshaya, great. Okay, so all of you all in your target books, you all will have company law to be knocked off if you are giving group 1, and CAMSL to be CAFM to be knocked off from group 1, and in group 2 I will pick up a subject taxation, that I will be knocking off. GST I'll be taking from depth. I've written a book on it. I'll be taking everything from scratch. So you just have to be in the WhatsApp group. The live lectures will start. Today is just the overview. Now see, from here also, when we go to see from your company law, the first subject that we are planning to start. Now in company law, you will see that part B is 40 marks. Okay, now part B is 40 marks, means mandatory 40 marks will be coming from these chapters. Mandatory 40 marks. So, and you will see all of this rotate around two topics: meetings and directors. See this, meetings, and this is directors, this is board of directors, this is board, meetings. Okay, so this is also KMPs in the meetings and directors chapter. So two topics, directors and meetings, can come for 40 marks and you can capture it entirely. Okay, now the next thing is your part A, which covers right from company law start. If you go to see when you're forming a company, it is going to have incorporation, so that they will have the types of companies you will form. Then to form the company, you will require a MOA, AOA. A memorandum is the details of the company's names, objects, the articles. Then it will come the share capital, how much funding is going to come. Nowadays, if you go to see from where funds will come into the company, maybe it will be equity shares, it will be debentures, it will be preference shares. From where the funds will come will be in the share capital chapters. Then when you are members, what rights do you have, how do you become a member, how do you get out of the member, if there is a dispute, where do you go, etc. Then this talks about debentures, debt capital. For example, company can even raise money in the form of debt. Then comes charges. When you raise debt, when you take a loan, company has to keep their property as security. That when the company mortgages his property, charge is said to be created, whether charge holder or the bank will have a control over your property or a charge over the property. Then when the company during its process can distribute dividend, that's called as distribution of profit. In the annual general meeting, they will place the accounts of the audited accounts, so that will be covered. Okay, and if the company plans to do mergers, amalgamation, takeovers, it's covered in this chapter. Now, what is dormant company? So sometimes a company is set up earlier, the operation will start later on. Manufacturing companies which require higher, it will start company set up, but the operation will start later. I set up a company, but I'm waiting for RBI approval, I'm waiting for this approval, so then I will get a status of dormant company, that right now I'm going to be inactive, no operations are going to happen, later it will happen. Okay, and the last part is about registrar of companies. Now government has set up a regulator called as ROC. Okay, now he will identify if a company has not did the filings, if any kind of non-filing is done, late filing is done, any kind of non-compliance is done. So then we can have inquiry, inspection, that's a notice will be sent to the company, they will have to respond, etc. So this is your entire flow of the chapters that we will be studying. Okay, now what I used to do, whenever I used to start a subject, I always used to write that I love this subject. Okay, I want you to write it. Imagine, it's such a beautiful subject, and you go to see so many times people say, not everyone is earning in crores, not everyone is earning this much, some are not earning. You have to see that you will reach the top. Okay, in every field you can reach the top, and your job is to reach the top, that is the boardroom of listed companies. And I used to write that I will be the best in my field. Okay, now if you go to see learning, directors, meetings, companies, I used to write that I will always be the best. I want you to write it there as well. And recently only, if you go to see, my name was mentioned in the CEO magazine. You can search it as well. Okay, where I had set up, our company, which is Lexine Technology. It's a completely different company. It's a digital signing company which we have set up, for which I'm the director. Now imagine, it can only happen when you think from the very beginning that you will do. When I was a student only, I said that if I'm studying CS, I'm knowing how companies can start, how can it be operated, how can it be expanded, then why not set up your own company? Every time people are looking into job, or maybe how to get employed, but you can also set up businesses. Okay, so definitely you can see this, that you also will set up a business, because a business has unlimited income, it has a complete freedom, established business. Okay, so if you study this subject in a way that you will set up a company today, someday you will become the director, you will raise funds from investors, you will get it listed. That is the peak of entrepreneurship. So you also can think from an entrepreneur from the very beginning. Okay, so this is it. Now, till now, I hope you have understood that when you are touching this subject, you have to touch it with high dreams, high hopes, and extreme positivity. Because if I think that I will just do some, small little work in company law field, then don't touch this subject. Please drop the course only. If you cannot think big, then you won't be able to do justice to your profession. You will not be able to do justice to your own skills, etc. Okay, so now when you're studying, and when I will take you all through this entire company law journey and the company law bare act, where you will see it from a director point of view, from a person who set up a company, and so you will see from that angle as well. So I used to study this from the point that I will set up a company, I will set up a business. Okay, so the very first thing is introduction to company law. First, companies in India. Now I also think from from a business point of view, from an entrepreneur point of view, and I want you also to develop that mentality. That today the richest people of the world are set up their own companies, and they all have listed companies. So if you see yourself, to aiming for the stars, then you have to see that you will set up a company and make it a listed company. A listed company raises, that is, a company which is listed will raise funds from public, and then they raise in the form of 12,000 crores, 13,000 crores, and get that kind of valuation. Okay, so that is the peak of entrepreneurship, and this is why the subject is to be looked in from a big angle, from a bigger, larger picture point of view. So company law is the law relating to companies. Can you tell me which act is there? Which act is governs the companies in India? Very simple. So when you go to see, we will have to understand from the point of view of the history of company law in India. The company law in India was given by the Britishers. In India, the company law was pre-independence. It was the first act for company law was in 1850 under the Joint Stock Companies Act. Okay, now this is all pre-independence. Post-independence, I know you know it. Today, which Companies Act is applicable? I know you know all the laws which are post-independence. Companies Act 2013 and Companies Act 1956. Right, pre-independence, the first form of company law had come in 1850. Then came in 1857, then 1860, then 1866, and then when we got independence, we made your Companies Act 1956, and now which is called as Companies Act 2013. Now, in this, we are going to understand Companies Act 2013 and 1956, a bit of comparison. Like what was there in 1956 Act, which we had to repeal the full act and bring in a new law. Okay. So we are going to do a small comparison, a bird's eye views, because only when you understand the previous law, you will understand the Companies Act beautifully. Companies Act 2013, we will be doing section by section. All the sections we will be doing, all the subsections we will be doing, we will understand it from a practical perspective as well. Okay. But before that, we are understanding right from the origin of Companies Act 1850 pre-independence to post-independence 1956 Act. So let's see. The key difference between the old 1956 Act and 2013 Act was the introduction of technology. was the acceptance or the prevalence of technology, where in this 2013 act video conferencing was allowed. AGMs also can be held through you can have electronic conferencing, video conferencing. And another important thing of the Companies Act was Companies Act 2013. Now, normally people say that they know Companies Act 2013. However, there are rules. 2014 rules are there. Companies Act 2014 rules are covered. For each chapter, there is there. So, in Companies Act, there were around 658 sections. How many sections were there? 658 sections, which has now been shrinked by this new act into 470 sections. So first thing, let's understand the new Companies Act. It is a more concise, more summarized version of the earlier act. Companies Act 2013 has 29 chapters, 470 sections and 7 schedules. So 470 sections, 29 chapters and 7 schedules. Now, whenever the acts were made, Companies Act 2013, 1956, government always used to appoint certain committees, expert committees. See, we all know that the acts are passed through parliament. But the legislators, the parliamentarians, don't just pass the law. It is a very technical subject and there are sections, subsection, rules, form numbers, timelines, everything. So what government says, let's appoint an expert committee. That on basis of the expert committee, the laws will be passed. Similarly, can you tell me in the chat box that which was the expert committee which brought in the 1956 Act? And which was the expert committee basis of which the 2013 Act was passed? So we are right understanding from the basics. Okay, and we are coming. So the Companies Act 1956 Act was formed on recommendations given by the Baba Committee. So Companies Act 1956 was passed on recommendations given by the Baba Committee, and Companies Act 2013 was formed by the Tata's director, who was J.J. Irani. So J.J. Irani was the director at Tata's. Government of India, Ministry of Corporate Affairs approached him and they said that Tata, that you all are a company which have made profit and also at the same time help the society. So what do you all do that you all can manage the company so well that even economically also you're doing well and even socially also you're doing well? So then they said, okay, we will send our top director there to help build the entire act. And on basis of J.J. Irani, they had brought in concepts such as independent directors. Okay, then they had brought in like independent directors. We bring an outside director inside the company who gives us, what we should do whenever major policy decisions are being formed. So the Companies Act 2013 was passed on basis of the J.J. Irani committee. Okay, now once we know this, now that we know that the history of the Companies Act, okay, right from when it was passed, who passed it, etc. Now if we go to look at the sections, each section we will cover. Section 1, 2, 3, so on. See the first one, just we're taking the overview of it. The first chapter of any law, okay, the first chapter of any law talks about the title. The title is what will be the name of the act. So the name will be the Companies Act 2013, and they also cover the particular purpose of the act. So the law has been passed to consolidate, amend, and the laws relating to companies in India. The object you will see in section number 1, and it applies to almost all the companies. Second, section number 2 of all the acts, of all the major acts, and the most commonly Section number 2 covers the definition. Okay. Now I'll give you an example about definitions and you can tell me. I'll give you a practical example of what we had witnessed. Can a company be a shareholder of another company? You tell me. Yes or no? Can a company be a shareholder of another company? Yes or no? Okay. So what happened is there was company A, company B. They wanted to appoint another company as their proxy. So for example, there is a company A, it has invested in another company. It is a shareholder. So the company was a shareholder. Now this company is saying that as for proxy, any shareholder can appoint a proxy on his behalf. Now shareholder can appoint a proxy. So this company was a shareholder. They wanted to appoint a proxy. So can a company appoint a proxy? Answer is yes. They wanted to appoint another company as their proxy. So now the question came that can a proxy be a artificial person? So we had to go to the definition of proxy. So a company was a shareholder. This company said that we want to appoint a proxy. They wanted to appoint another company as their proxy, who was also the shareholder. So can you do that? Yes or no? So now the question went into interpretation. Now remember one thing. Now you can note it down also. This is from the practical point of view. That if we want to understand any definition, we go to section number 2. Section number 2. If that also doesn't fit in, if section 2 does not cover definition of proxy. So we opened a company law book and we said we couldn't find definition of proxy. Then there is a rules. Then you go in rule number 2. Even there definition of proxy was not given. If the act is not there, if the act was silent on the definition of proxy, then we said what to do. Then there is another act called a General Clauses Act. A General Clauses Act is basically, it covers all the general definitions. So even that was silent. Even General Clauses Act also did not cover definition of proxy. So now we are looking at all the possible sources where I can find the definition of proxy. Section 2, Rule 2, General Clauses Act. Nowhere it is given. Then we saw in the footer, through the interpretation of law and the case laws, it was written that proxy cannot speak. The word speak. And in the footer, it was written that speaking is of a natural person. And that is why it has been interpreted that proxy always has to be a natural person, and it was held that a company cannot appoint another company as its proxy. A proxy is a person who will attend and vote on your behalf, but has to be a natural person only. So there you will see the importance of definition clause. Each definition is to be studied. Okay. Then comes about incorporation. Today, if you want to incorporate a private company, public company, you will follow these steps. Now, obviously, to incorporate a company, you will require MOA, AOA, which is given in your section 4 and 5. Okay. And then you can commence your business. Commencement of business is covered in your section number 10A. Okay. Then after that comes prospectus and allotment of securities. Once you have incorporated the company, then you would want to allot the shares, so that the entire is covered in chapter number 3. Then then comes your share capital, debentures. If you want to issue shares, what will be the nature of shares, all of this. So this I will be starting with the entire Companies Act along with every section tomorrow at 5 p.m. So tomorrow 5 p.m. I will start with Companies Act section 1 onwards. If you want to join this particular session where we are going to decode the entire act, then I will obviously take you through this entire Companies Act module also. Everything will get covered. If you are doing the core law, this will also there. So this is only for people who really want to understand this entire law in depth. Okay, not just for the sake of studying. but memorize every section and perfect your company law. So you all can join the WhatsApp group. Tomorrow I will be starting with every single section and going in order. Okay, the link will be a Zoom link where I will take up your questions also, and we will do. And then I will share the schedule. So this is for group 1. Now group 2 students are saying, sir, what about us? Group 2, I will be starting with GST. Now for GST also, if you go and search, okay, so GST book. So if you go to see, this is on Amazon also. So our book is there. We are the authors. So I have written a book on GST as well. Okay. You can see this. This entire book is there. Okay. So this is there on Amazon. Clear? So I will be teaching GST right from section 1 as well, okay, and covering all the basics. So do not delay, join the WhatsApp group. Today is just the overview of what all we will be covering, okay. Yes, Sukanya, I will be sharing the weekly timetable also with you all. Weekly timetable I will be sharing today. So from tomorrow we can start with full-fledged lectures. Do share it with your friends. And if you like the lectures, you can also enroll with us, where you will get all the lectures of all the chapters along with the notes. Currently, you all can join, attend, you see the entire lectures, ask your doubts as well. So today is just the overview. I want you to understand that today you will be targeting to complete 2 syllabus in this month, in the 1 month period, and don't keep of anything else. These 2 subjects I am taking and I will complete. Okay, you will starting with me, you will get in the study of you will go in the flow of studies as well. Okay, so today I will just wrap up with a short lecture, a short overview of what we are planning to do, and I will see you all tomorrow again at 5 p.m. starting with my company law. Then I will start with my one thing. Tomorrow again, I think Fatima ma'am is. I'll share the entire schedule because Fatima ma'am will be starting with CAFM. So Saturday, tomorrow is Saturday. Fatima ma'am will be starting with at 10:30. She will be starting with CAFM. Okay. So that is it. Join the WhatsApp group. I will see you in the